Welcome to WinternomicsTV. Your stream will begin shortly. Loading in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Get ready to just Winternomics. Welcome. Winter, 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 Winternomics. Winter, winter, winter. Welcome. Winter, 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 Winternomics. Welcome to WinternomicsTV. Your stream will begin shortly. Loading in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Get ready to just Winternomics. Welcome. Winter, 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 Winternomics. Winter, winter, winter. Welcome. Winter, 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 Winternomics. Welcome to WinternomicsTV. Your stream will begin shortly. Loading in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Get ready to just Winternomics. Welcome. Winter, 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 Winternomics. Winter, winter, winter. Welcome. Winter, 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 Winternomics. Welcome to Winternomics TV. Your stream will begin shortly. Loading in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Get ready, bitches. Winternomics. Welcome. Winter, 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 winternomics. Winter, winter, winter. Welcome. Winter, 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 winternomics. Welcome to Winternomics TV. Your stream will begin shortly. Loading in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Get ready, bitches. Winternomics. Welcome. Winter, 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 winternomics. Winter, winter, winter. Welcome. Winter, 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 winternomics. Welcome to Winternomics TV. Your stream will begin shortly. Loading in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Get ready, bitches. Winternomics. Welcome. Winter, 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 winternomics. Winter, winter, winter. Welcome. Winter, 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 winternomics. Welcome to Winternomics TV. Your stream will begin shortly. Loading in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Get ready, bitches. Winternomics. Welcome.
What up, what up? How's everybody doing out there? 111 on the open. Not terrible. Really endeavored to get this show off before 8:30. Boy, it just seems to keep working out that way. Shout out to everybody that kicked off the morning show with a couple bits. Appreciate you guys. We're keeping the show moving. How was your guys' weekend? Market pullbacks continued. What we forecasted off on the SPY. Pulling back to Ragnarok. So he's there this morning on the pre-market, so we want to take a look at that. DXY rotation happened. USDT.D also moving with DXY, so we want to check some of that out as it put pressure on all of crypto. For any of you that marked your Trolex shockwave, wow, that thing was pretty fucking epic. Tell you, whenever people are doing crazy shit like that, it's always worth paying attention to what comes next. Let's pull that guy out real quick. All right, good old Trolex. Good for a fucking impulse bar every time, right? One direction or the other. But that's why you keep track of like emotions in markets. And if ever you want to figure out who the dumb money is, you look at shit like this, and there's no argument with the whole of like, you know, the artifact community. They degend out, and fucking the market literally punishes you. You know, it's an interesting thing that we've noticed over many cycles in crypto. So this is definitely worth noting. This rotation on this angle was huge, right? And if this ended up bottoming here with high emotions, this is something we pay attention to because we've got a trigger level here. If this goes again, should de-risk real fucking hard from where we are. So this is a critical spot where we are today. And a couple of things are at major levels to pay attention to. So we'll cover that when we get back to macro stuff. But now you know, we say price is people, while you pay attention to that shit, right? Let's see. Amon, all right. Euro USD, some currencies asked early. Always interesting to see that. So many of you guys here, I see somebody said he caught a short from 23.3. Good play. There are a lot of you guys here, managed to protect yourself on the backswing. We talked about it on the Friday show, that the SPY was likely rotating to another angle. So I want to see that like a lot of you were able to actually navigate that pullback, because that's one of the things that's the most difficult, is to not get biased in the directionality of what you see, and be able to in an instant go the opposite direction of what the market shows you that needs to be done. That's for anybody that's playing in those lower resolutions. Obviously, people who are in different reses, higher reses, may not have found the need to do that yet. Let me know in the chat. Did you guys give me any war stories? I think I got 2 this morning, right? So we're going to fit this show into a shorter time span than fucking an hour and go right to 9:30. We're going to get off here early today because we need enough time to prep for the day as well. What's up?
Did you pause for a sec?
Sure.
Pause?
Welcome to Winternomics TV. Your stream will begin shortly. Loading in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Get ready, bitches. Winternomics. Welcome. Winter.
Sorry about that. We had a satellite outage directive I had to help me fix. All right, we're back. Sorry about that. Caught a short on BTC, now waiting. Jan. Yep, safe, not wrecked on pullback, waiting for next structure for crypto. All right, well, that's good. So at least I see a couple of you in there, and not people like veterans, just people who are new to the eco that are using the intel to convert it. So that's what we want to see. Didn't catch short, but just stopped out of good long plays. Trojan Mom, I have a question. I've never experienced the effect of Jackson Hole. Could you tell me more? It's like any other, event with big bankers. It can make major market moving. It can be a major market move event. It can be nothing. It's worth noting, right? Anytime Jay Powell is going to speak, you want to pay attention, because in this environment where there's so much tied to what the Fed may or may not do fighting inflation, any kind of surprise statements he puts on the microphone are market moving. So, Jackson Hole in times past when the market's not in like chaotic states is not really a major event you give a shit about. But in the current economic climate and the market climate, you do. Okay, so yeah, that's about it. You always just pay attention to anybody who can move markets that get on the microphone, and Jay Powell's top of the food chain with that. All right, so war stories. What do we got? First off, let's just see what we have for economic events. So this has that right here. Things to care about today. Let's see. I don't see anything for Monday. PMI you give a shit about tomorrow. And this obviously GDP for the US for USA. You obviously give a real shit about this. If this comes off miles off or something, there's a good chance this won't be fucking nearly accurate. So that can be a major market moving. Jackson Hole, like we said, once people start speaking this shit, you care. I think it'll go through the weekend. So Thursday and Friday, once this begins, this can add some volatility, and it can be nothing, and you just really won't know, because it'll come out inside that place and move the market before anyone tells you what happened with it. So it's just be aware that can add volatility to the market. Let's see. So that's that. And then earnings, I don't think there's anybody give a shit about this cycle. Macy's and retail and Dick's. So retail is going to give you some. This is probably worth noting because we talked about discretionaries, and Nvidia. Obviously, you give a shit about him for semiconductors this week. So these guys and Macy's for giving hints about retail and spending and their forecast. Like we said, a lot of people are off on what these guys are really doing with inflation, but what they tell you about what their expectations are is probably really important as far as factoring like inflation and what the consumer has left to spend, and then obviously Jay Powell speaking. So this actually is a decent mix of shit to be concerned about. And Nvidia, of all these guys, you definitely care the most about this week and what he says about the semiconductor market, because honestly Nvidia made a horrible bet. They really kind of swung towards catering towards like crypto at the wrong exact moment, and not taking care of gamers. And so now the gaming market's also weak, and they're hurt in both places, crypto being weak, and fucking if Ether leaves fucking, the POW market, and gaming being soft, since COVID. Nvidia's in a weird spot, you know, with where they position themselves. So what they say next is going to be pretty interesting to see, you know, to think about in terms of the CHIPS Act and their business as a whole. So that could be pretty market moving, whatever the fuck guidance comes out of those guys. All right. So anyways, that being said, on to our war stories. What do we get? This is Jasso. What up, Kaz? Some personal events during the summer caused me to start losing focus on watching the shows and the charts, where it starts as missing a show and telling yourself it's fine because you are busy, later turns out to not watching the show for weeks, even though there is plenty of time available, and not realizing how far you are drifting when you're not paying attention. Missed everything from the trenches of the 3-digit ETH and wanted to punch myself in the face. Used the salt to regain focus on what's important and started watching the show again, working on my entry logic, stalking one asset, being patient, and regaining perspective on the macro situation. ETH has been the main focus throughout the whole journey. Saw bull flag forming, chased an entry, lost an R, kept on waiting for a good entry, and later on hit a tight entry which resulted in 35 Rs. Got a net of 6, seeing as I used a lower risk as a form of a paper trade. So you took a smaller amount of risk than you normally would because you just wanted to simulate, but you did a real entry, I think. Later on, missed the rotation of an easy spot bear flag on the hourly and waited again for a key level. Set my stop loss and hit a 7R during the night. Thanks, Cash, for the accurate and detailed intel across all platforms. Vicky for sick visuals every stream. So I think I'm getting what you said in this one. This is like a smaller amount of risk than you actually put into the one you lost. So you only made 6 on what you normally risk. That's something to be aware of. Like, you know, as you guys like try really, really hard to get like these microscopic entries into like really thin crypto markets, you make it, you know damn well you can't put in like real size once you get down to some nano fucking resolution. And you have to think about it, right? Like when you guys are trading and you're trying to like do that, how much volume does it have time to really be in the structures you're in if you keep going smaller and smaller and smaller, right? If you're betting like, you know, your risk is $1,000 a trade and you're trying to pack in like, you know, in a fucking like, you know, 20-cent structure on ETH, fucking $1,000 of risk, you know, on like a 15-second, how much coverage do you think you have to not be the fucking target of whoever executes against you? You cannot really do that. And so if you're getting down here, you're taking smaller risks because you know damn well there's like nothing in there, right? These are really thin markets. So it's not about seeing how tiny a structure you can get down to and see if you can hit $1 million off it. And if you end up scaling your risk down from what you normally take, you fuck your statistics up. So it doesn't really serve a point to do that. You want to keep your statistics meaningful. You have to take the same risk as a percentage of your overall capital and like, you know, keep that consistent. So you have a you know, what your statistics are telling you means something in your total amount of R's gained or lost. This won't mean much if you keep changing like how much you bet every time. Then your 35R doesn't count for shit and your fucking like 3 R's counts for the total R's. So try not to do that because that will hurt you. And the need to get down to some, you know, these nano entries and yourself fearing that you can't take your entire risk because it's so fucking small, then this is as good an entry as this is, it kind of really fucks you. So, you know, try to be consistent. All right. That is that one. But thanks for posting that and good to see you came back. Wow, another drift comment. Tonic, don't let the drift catch you. So I detect a lot of people are ghosted for, you know, various reasons on the way up in this. This clearly says that. I remember Kaz mentioning that not all warsters need to be positive. Yeah, but not too many come in here telling, well, people are pretty fair in saying the kind of shit they mess up on. So I think, you know, they've been pretty honest. Not all warsters need to be positive. So I wanted to share my most recent fuck up in case it helps anyone else out there. It's a long story, so feel free to skip if we have short on time. Sorry, we only have 2 stories. We can do this. Damn, son. We'll read it. Let's see. Context. I opened up a new trading account in June 2022. Started being more active in Discord, watching the shows religiously. Had a lot of epiphanies. My habits on and off the charts were improving. My P&L improved. Cass teaches that your biggest losses come after your biggest wins. Uh-oh. Early results. Although I didn't have a huge double-digit wins in R's, I did start making consistent profitable trades. 3 R's, 5 R's, nothing crazy. Most of my trades were longs from the mid-July bottom. I would take 50% off at the predetermined locations and let the rest run. add to that, my collateral was mainly in ETH. So I had some additional tailwinds from navigating the bottom in July thanks to Kaz's intel. My collateral was mainly ETH. Okay. Problem. The above formed a perfect storm in what I can only describe as accumulated complacency. It wasn't one big trade that made me complacent, but with each trade I got a little more complacent. My habit started to drift ever so slightly, kind of like getting 1% worse each day. I was not journaling all my trades on time like I used to. I was not taking profits on or placing stops mechanically like I used to, etc. By the time ETH hit 2K in mid-August, my starting balance had grown significantly, but my open position was getting bigger and bigger, so my P&L was taking massive swings on small movements in price. My long bias became so strong I ignored all the info that was presented to me. I even watched Helter Skelter twice with the blood red theme screaming me in the face and not realizing that I should be closing my longs. I finally realized I screwed up, then watched Paradox. By then, a huge portion of my profits were already eaten by the counterwave. I closed all my positions and reset for the weekend. Some takeaways. No matter how good your trading results are, never let yourself drift into old degen habits. Although we discussed this at length in Discord, I found much harder to course correct in real time. We also discussed this at length, but it bears repeating. Trading is 90% psychology. There is no magic indicator that will save you. Once you have a bias, you will delete all information that is counter to your bias and lack objectivity to make the appropriate decision. The one positive I can take from this, although I course corrected late, I did course correct after all. The old degen version of me would have doubled down or held on until liquidated. So the degen version of myself now is much better than the degen version of myself 2 months ago, kind of like forming a lower high on an uptrend. It sucks that I experienced a low, but it's definitely higher than my previous low. All in all, it was a huge learning for me, which drove home a lot of points we discussed in the Discord about focusing on the right habits and improving 1% each day. I've not knocked out, and I will continue to trade and improve. All right, well, that's as honest as it gets. So, I'm sure many people have gone through that before also. That's pretty much typical things in a market cycle, right? There are people who are on the wrong side of the whole move up, and there are people on the right side of the move up who mismanage it. And so really the few, with the exactly right behaviors get through the tides, making any real money. So that's a pretty good reflection to make, because there are people who definitely caught it and then did things that fucked it up for them on the way up. So this is a point of view that other people have definitely experienced. As always, thank you, Kaz and the Eco for helping me learn and grow as a trader on and off the charts. For sure, that's a good reflection. Who else can relate to that? Because that's pretty much like something that a lot of people, for the people who caught it right, still a problem in managing it. There's a ton of people who flat out just missed it. The bulk of the market misses these kinds of bottoms, but then for the people participating in it, there's many people who have issues with resolutions on the way up that fuck them anyway. So I think that's a great reflection worth sharing. Most people don't think of that angle. I can relate to that. Used to be a hodler big time. Yep, it happens. Yeah, that's definitely a thing, right? Like, your management of your trade is like a part that's not often talked about, and that's something you don't want to let go of. Just getting the move right and sitting there with your hands up in there is equally ridiculous. So really good point. See, those war stories are like huge, man. They're the specific experiences that you really couldn't cover any other way. Like, there's too many things to really talk about that happen to you in the trading world. I think these are great because they're your own experiences shared back with you guys in the same moves you're all playing. So I think it adds real great perspective for everybody who's paying attention to those write-ups. Why is crypto more volatile than traditional markets? I mean, it's just more speculative, and it just has a higher beta. It's thin as shit. Crypto is thin and insanely speculative. It's full of lots of bad actors and unregulated. So if there was more liquidity, it would probably be a little less volatile. But crypto, Bitcoin itself dynamically scales. No matter how much money you put into Bitcoin, it'll always be just as fucking crazy. I said that back at 300. It didn't matter what you did to it. Like, it would dynamically expand for the amount of velocity of value going through the ledger. It'll basically be the exact same thing. If it reached 100,000 a coin, it'd be just as crazy. That's just part of the dynamic of the way that it's structured. All right, let's see. It's not that, crypto FX doesn't open and close either. It only closes on the weekends, and FX doesn't have that level of volatility, but it also has like insane liquidity. Crypto is just an insanely speculative, really thinly traded asset, and unregulated as fuck. It is 99% pump and dumps in all of crypto. There is no real product yet. Since the market's been there for 10 years, everyone's still waiting for the killer app in crypto to this day. If NFTs on top of ETH is finally it, so be it. But you've had like 10,000 dead shitcoins and nothing has been produced. It's just a fucking, penny stock market, gone crazy. Oh, that's crazy. Hadn't seen that yet. All right. So, all right, it is, we're not trying to go towards 920, so I'm going to go in here and do a macro and get a few symbols if I can get them, and then we're going to go off early today to get you guys to where you're supposed to be. So, macro things, y'all ready? Y'all ready? Y'all got your notepads? Are y'all ready for all the goodies that you all wait through all my bullshit for? All right, so it's going to be a little bit of a fast macro. All right, so we have to relate a bunch of stuff to where we are now. So, first things first. So SPY, we'll start with him like we always do. So this chart, remember, has Ragnarok on it, and I didn't put it on the other one, but the other one's where we've been doing most of our TA lately. So just remember this level, right? The gap down this morning, Ragnarok is 49 cents, and you're at 26. So you're literally going to open on this Ragnarok level, which is the level directly on top of the Phantom Zone. So this is like, remember the Phantom Zone right now? This volume block is what we pay attention to. Oh, I'm already on this. Dumbass. Right, so this just cleans it up. That's Ragnarok. That's the Phantom Zone. This is the projected rotation from this uptrend to hitting this major volume position and creating another angle. So this angle is out of my ass, right? That's just a projected possible angle at a location. There was no volume to bounce it. So this morning, this is the highest probable place, if it's going to be a bull flag, that it has some amount of stability when it crashes into all of this shit over here. And we look at it like, just like you look here, your clean gap break from here, this is a massive gap on top of this. So this is a huge fucking pump to rip it into this. And we're coming back, basically gapping from here into that gap. So you guys know we pay attention to gap levels like here because you get really killer interaction on gaps. So this, if you want, I would project a line over on this guy. Hang on a sec. Where did I put that? Ah! Wow, that was the wrong fucking button. My bad. Not that one. Sorry about that. Right on the top of this guy, where are you at? Yeah, I would say, so I've got this line running at 49. Is that the right level for it? Let me see something. That's Ragnarok. Okay. Ragnarok's 49. And I think the top of this box range is a good area. So I'm going to try to make a range for this all to pay attention to. I don't know, putting this out on an entire show if this remains scarce or not, but let's see. So, I think like there. So this is like for you guys to watch today. Like, where's our gap at? He's pre-market right here. So I think this is your transitional box. I'm gonna put this on the show. If he's gonna survive today, I think you watch this lower range of 1465 to 1417.49. So I'm gonna be super specific. If he goes into that range and if recoils out of that, like if he opens like he's gonna open here and pops out of that and ends up above the daily open, Dick rules might allow us to fucking squeeze out of this and try to recover this kind of angle I've got here. So pay attention to that. He survives the bounce on top of this cloud of shit. He could bounce a bunch of risk assets. Now looking at where he is, right, that's a critical spot. And USDT.D, oh, not this chart. Right, basically we have to fail on here right now. If SPY breaks down and starts to break down viciously through that little area I gave you and go down to that into the phantom zone, and USDT.D pumps off of this, he probably takes this with him, that rotation is like really got gas to it right now. So somebody's asking about euro. We'll cover euro in a second. All right, and we know the dollar getting strength is a bad sign for risk assets, right? But this is a stick too. This isn't really a structure we want to buy into. So as he approaches this fucking high right now, if he gets a meaningful counter, he'll allow the SP to probably like to stall on his drop and stall some of crypto's weakness also. So again, this is a rotation. This is out. And if you're part of this and you're in this trend up, you want to keep playing this and managing it. But if you're not, this is kind of the structure that's like really scary to buy into without some kind of flag. Even if it's this fucking big, it's a stick right now. So that's your only real prospect, putting that together, that he's kind of like fully sticked out like this. And if he has any counter structure, he would allow the SPY to bounce where he's at. It's kind of like the only possibility that this is like a bounceable level. So it's probably a hell of a call if it works out. But right now, it's your highest possibility, right? So where is crypto with relation to this? Crypto things. So we're watching this. Remember, these are not properly drawn. They're just freehand drawn. So we want the properly drawn ones we put on this chart. Sorry about this. Keep forgetting which one has which. So this is where BTC is. Remember we had to draw it properly now. We don't want to have like the wacky hand drawings. We want to know exactly where the angle was. So that's it. BTC is dead on it. Sitting on that right now. We'll kill this now just so it looks like it's supposed to. So our low resolution uptrend is actually at that trajectory, right? It's literally exactly on that angle. So he flagging here now. That's the other part of confluence that we add to like what's going on with SPYs is this thing. So if the SPY is going to bounce, he's in a good place for it also on this uptrend. If he doesn't, then we rotate this fucking, what we talked about was a higher resolution bear flag. What the hell was that? And things get a lot worse, and the bull flag of the DXY, likely gets fucking way crazy. So we want to pay attention to this right now. This is kind of like that moment. So if we look at BTC backed up, we have the trajectory of the drop that we pushed in here when we did the Sailor fractal that got us down here. So now you have a bear flag moving towards the angle, just like you have here, right? That's what happens until you get one that goes through it. We still haven't violated the downtrend since the highs of November. So this is still within keeping that you have a larger resolution bear flag forming. And this is the whole thing we've been keeping in perspective while we've been playing the low resolution uptrend. That is what makes up a bear flag. That's a lot of words. I need a minute. Did you guys get all that? That was a lot. 21K, one of Sailor's liquidity levels, even on his 4-year moving average. That fucking putz. Yeah, whatever. I just need a minute. That was a lot of stuff. I'm a little baked and not quite awake, I think. All right, so go to ETH time. ETH, we gave you this guy, this projection. So on ETH, right, he could, that's a Trolex shockwave, and he could rotate, and this was also an angle I just protected out of my ass. It's just, it could be, it could not be, but it's pretty much the same location with what BTC is doing. BTC has a more meaningful level to give a shit about that he's reached, right, on BTC, or breakout level on the upside was 20,326. So he's still above that, and his deepest he's gone is 20,764. Not too far above that, but holding this angle with a couple wicks. So at least he's interacting with it. Again, I said USD.T is kind of stretched out like the DXY. Like he's in a shockwave though. This very much can be a bull flag and go completely nuclear. So you want to be aware of that while he's on a trigger on the other chart, like I told you. So that's our ETH things, DXY things, VIX things. VIX is in some interesting spots too, right? So Supreme Being, if you guys remember this, Supreme Being was the low, 1912. This is a level that we got. Who we get Supreme Being from? There's a guy in the show that popped up like Ragnarok. There's Ragnarok and Supreme Being, and that started over here. That was somewhere in December. So that's a level. This is the chart. This is the original chart with all the levels on it. So we bounced up to Stevie D's monolith killer level. And this is a key swing level to watch because we've seen the market die last time. We bull flagged through Stevie D's level, like the whole fucking planet got wrecked, right? So we definitely want to keep tabs on that. Nomics is the range from October sentiment read, if you guys remember that one, October 5th. And so the high side of Nomics is also basically just above Stevie D's level. That's a projection here. So if we swing through Stevie D's level and through Nomics, the market's likely to get fucking shit canned. So you have a decent line in the sand. Either we have recoiled underneath this upside angle right here that you see, and we're about to deflect off of it, which will allow for a bounce on the phantom zone from the spies and a bounce for BTC on that uptrend angle, or you're going to have fucking this thing gas through and risk assets get fucking plowed out the ass today. So, you know, this is the line in the sand. So VIX, DXY, Bitcoin, ETH, SPY. And okay, so we covered all the major projections we give a shit about. And yeah, that's good. And let's see, QQQs, some growth things. That's not the chart for him. Okay, so right, so here's the Qs. So growth, you know, or high risk tech assets or triple top that we talked to watch about. And so we're fading off of this, and we have to even, you know, yet to reach the base of this bull flag. So for all intents and purposes, you're still in an uptrend that's maintained. The chances of it going through this, you know, do look pretty high. But like I said, if the SPY holds, then he's going to hold this uptrend anyway. And, you know, your line in the sand for him is watching if he does get to the base of this bull flag, what he does there. For right now, you know, you're watching him just make a down, a bull flag here. And it's still possible he holds it, right? So this is kind of what we're watching today. And so this is well within, you know, the projection of what we gave you guys was possible on this chart. The SPY projected bull flag is filling in pretty much exactly like we said. He flagged right here and he's dumped down now. A little deeper than we showed for the angle, but I think this is your main contact point. If he's gapping pre-market, this is what we watch, right? This is D-Day. And there's no real catalyst. As far as looking at CNBC, they don't really have a news catalyst for it at all. They just like futures are down. So I think that gives you a possibility of a bounce. So that being said, that's our macro. What am I at time-wise? 9:03. All right, not too many symbols and I can do this. Did you guys get all that? Did you get all that? All the dots connect, right? So we know what we're watching today. So for all y'all right now, it's 9:03. You start to, like, whatever your targets are, you start to make your playbook based on it. I gave you a range on the SPY. Like, put alerts on that. I'm gonna see if we can do this with the whole station. So the SPY range I gave you, 1466, 55, and was it to 14, 17, 49? Like, you want to know if he's going up through 49 or down through 55. If he stays under, that's a line going into the cloud of shit. You generally want to stay the fuck out of it. It's gonna be a chop shop. Markets could de-risk into this. If you catch a good short into it, you might be good. And if we recoil and dildo rules apply above open and we clear that 79, you might get a fucking, you know, pretty decent squeeze starting from there, and the bull flag might begin to take shape on a recoil. So let's see if we can be that precise, and if we hit that on the show, that'd be pretty cool. So that's kind of like, you know, where your playbook's going to start around. Always watch the SPY, even if you don't trade it. You know, since all risk assets are so correlated to it, it's why I always focus on the show. Like BTC, ETH move with the fucking SPY. So it's a very good, you know, barometer of risk-seeking behavior planetary wide. So watching his key levels, usually going to translate to key levels in the stuff you're watching on various time frames. You know, if you're on like a 1 minute chart, if you're on a 30-minute chart, you'll find out when the SPY clears certain levels, you'll find that your asset has ease of movement. So it's a good guy to use, you know, like I always do, to proxy everything. I proxy crypto everything because, you know, he captures the broadest base of human risk-seeking behavior in the world, and the fucking leading asset, you know, leading index in the world. So he's good to proxy everything else. Whether people didn't think it was correlated to Bitcoin or not, it's people. So, you know, BTC, SPY is always where your plan should start around. If you pay attention to the broader market, you will have a good idea about a whole lot of interconnecting assets. All right, so what were your symbols? DEC, Diz, Netflix, okay. Disney. Somebody's asked for Disney? Wait, what'd you ask for? DEC, Disney, Netflix. Okay, DEC. I feel like I did this stock already. No, never. Decker's Outdoor. Really? I didn't do this stock? Guess not. Alright, deck outdoor. Wow. Fucking epic. That's what he rotated there. Where'd he put his low in at? May. He came out ridiculously strong from the fucking May lows. He didn't do anything like that for June. So pretty strong rotation on that guy. That guy looks like a lot of the guys, bigger res I looked at, like McDonald's. These guys don't look fucking like they're, about to collapse. They look like they're trying to rotate into new highs. That guy, looks decent, not as like powerful a rotation, but right now all you're hoping for is a bull flag out here somewhere. And if he can do this shit and rotate again, he's a play, towards his highs. So, yeah, you're looking for something like this over here. See what he does. Disney, Netflix. And with that, you'd always expect the market to not collapse on its face. So Disney, Netflix. Has no one ever asked this before either? Disney, Netflix. Disney, Netflix. Yep, I guess not. So Disney, Netflix. Disney's been getting killed since the very beginnings of Netflix. So what are you looking for? You're looking for the comeback of Disney? And the death of Netflix. So I see what you see, sir. Interesting pairs trade. So that looks interesting, right? Can't overlook that. Netflix could be more shit than we realize. We look at this last high to generate the low. All right, so that's clearly been broken. So, question is he going to put in a higher floor here, allow this guy to, make another move out, like so. Probably can get some cues from Disney itself. Which one of these guys look better? That looks terrible. Netflix probably looks worse. Netflix has been getting its ass raped. So if Netflix, we have this here, if Netflix actually turns into a bear flag off this level, he actually projected that there. If he comes off of this and he bounces off of this, so this is kind of scary what he's bouncing off of, and keeps Netflix weak, then yeah, that could let Disney rotate and keep some strength to itself. So that's an interesting pair trade to keep on radar. RWM, DWAC, RWM. What is this? Pro shares short in the Russell. I'd probably just tell you to relate it to the Russell chart we have like this. At the Russell right now, he's had an arc out of this. He hasn't even made it to really retest the base here. Right now, if you get a counter structure deeper than what it looks like in the marketplace, you would play RWM. And these kind of things are good for like, short-term plays, not to sit in them and stuff like that. But you're looking for basically if this is going to keep rotating right now, the market would keep pulling back if this would keep pumping. I think, like I said, the market could be in just a small bull flag, which would lead to this being something like that. I think you probably would give a shit about this guy, just looking at if you're going to TA the RWM. You probably want this angle to get rotated, for the next like bull wave of RWM. But all in all, like this kind of like, this is the inverse of what's happening in the market, right? This is the dump from the highs of the market. And right now, if you think about this guy's an inverse, right? This is IWM crashing from fucking up here. It's just an inverse of this. So RVM. Oops. What is it? God damn it. I forgot. What was it again? RWM. Fuck. RWM. Technically it looks like a bear flag underneath a fucking breakdown of this trend, which would be bullish. If this thing fucking rotates back to the south, it would allow IWM to mark up again. So I don't think he looks like too good for a play on the short on the IWM just now in this structure. DWAC, is that Trump shit? Digital World Acquisition? I think so. So this looks like shit. So we had this before. He made a play on top of this, one pump. Since the Twitter thing with Musk, it's been pretty much dead money. I think this thing is exceedingly risky if you're gonna play it. It's probably worth pump worthy, maybe Wall Street bets worthy, but I think ultimately, like, this is pretty dangerous. You know, if you were to break up above this, you might get something playable out of it. But I think shit like this, you shouldn't chase stuff that looks like this. This thing's like highly speculative, highly news driven, and a lot of what it revolves around is what Trump says, which is pretty much not trustworthy at all. It's kind of play this at your own risk. But if he does break above this, yeah, he could possibly pump. If he goes under here, though, he's probably dead. So, you know, it's kind of that kind of play from here. That'd be your target or something like that if you got up there. But yeah, I would probably not. There's better things in the market to play. 9/11. All right, I'm gonna finish. Tesla, Euro. Got it. Tesla. We had on this guy. Bull flag rotation, didn't finish rotating, so he's still within the range of the same bull flag. So you're still waiting to see what the S&P 500 does today. This is his line in the sand up here at like 885. So him rotating back through this would kind of be something in keeping with watching the SPYs if it goes 417.49. So you're kind of wait and see mode with this. If this stays under here and that SPYs weaken and go through that zone, at that level into the phantom zone, this guy's gonna drop pretty hard and correct a lot deeper. Damn, I feel like I should remember that last symbol. What was it? Euro. What's the fucking currency? Euro USD. We are at parity right now, and this is critical, right? So this has become a significant level again with the bounce. He wicked through it by about 50 basis points. I thought he probably would go through a lot deeper, but we're back on it now. So this is a key level right now with this bounce, with the DXY where it is and the SPY where it is. So like it is literally D-Day in a couple places, right? So how this handles itself here after rotating basically a rising wedge. If this is going to continue, much like the collapse here, you want to pay attention if it goes through and can basically do something like this and go down some more, then it can get a lot worse. Or if we bounce again off of this and stay in a range. But this is your pretty good line in the sand today. And then last thing was I already forgot. BNB ETH BTC. BNB ETH. Nobody ever asked that. BNB ETH. Oh yeah, I guess somebody has asked that. Well, not much. So last time we were talking about this is God knows when. So we had a question mark for a possibly higher floor and a correction. So this must be back here. You guys asked me back in September of last year. Why's all this shit on there? Anyways, so it looks like he sort of did what we thought, right? He came up. Did he flag on it? He flagged just over it, and then he's retested it firmly. So we talked about this BNB's rotation on ETH, and that did happen. We talked about it along with Atom ETH, right? Right, yeah. We made these graphs back at the same time. I know we were following this one from back then. Somebody had asked it back then. So BNB ETH, BNB's, port of entry for fucking shitcoin speculation. So this being strong also is kind of a bullish sign, right? Like BNB's strength on BTC and on ETH kind of tells you there's still people trying to enter the market. So BNB, BTC, this chart. Remember, we told you to watch this too. You're doing exactly what we told you, right? Flagging up here well north of the system. This is your one bullish like sign. Like there's still fucking risk-seeking behavior coming into crypto via BNB. As much as BTC is the port of entry for money to come into the system into crypto, BNB is the port of entry for fucking like higher risk speculation on second tier, shitcoin assets. So this being bullish is definitely worth paying attention to with all the other scary ass signs that we see out there. And then the last thing you'd ask me was ETH BTC. Not that one. What chart do I have it on? Okay, so ETH BTC, gave a projection on this guy and a range to keep your eyes on for him to shockwave to finish his rotation. So he punched through it, and now this is what we thought you should do. You should do a flag in this range. So this is kind of just wait and see to see how he develops here along the macro rotation that's happening on this bull flag since 2017. All right, bitches, that was it. Got it in. What are we at? 9:15. A little bit better. So hope you guys got all that. It's a lot. Don't stress yourselves out. Pay attention to what you need to focus on. Not every damn thing I said in the show. It's for everybody that needs different information. Some of you guys feel like you got to play everything we say. You don't. So make a good plan. Pay attention to the SPYs. Right now, it's definitely D-Day in a couple places. Watch your VIX if you exit that range on bar Nomics. Watch the euro if you manage to sustain a break through parity. They'll obviously tell you that DXY is like still pushing with strength. And then again, like I said, dildo rules on a gap down like this to a level like we've got on top of Phantom Zone. Dildo rules all day. This guy recovers to the upside to a trigger I gave you. Dildo rules north. He should squeeze out of there pretty good. That sounds terrible. And then to the south side, obviously. If you end up inside the Phantom Zone, that's a chop shop. Remember that. If the day finishes diving down into that, tomorrow would be like a day to fucking like kind of let it figure out what it's doing if it's in there. Playing it down into there is playable, but once it's in there, it'll fucking cut you to bits. So be careful of that if we end up inside the Phantom Zone again. All right, motherfuckers. Sorry, I was a little baked in the halfway, so like awake this morning. So it took me a second to get my bearings, but good luck to everybody. Catch you guys on the flip. This is Altered Space, bitches. Till the next time.
Welcome to Winternomics TV. Your stream will begin shortly. Loading in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Get ready, bitches. Winternomics. Welcome. Welcome.